Hey there. Let's talk about 10 signs that you are possibly in a toxic relationship. 10 signs of what a toxic relationship looks like or what it looks like and feels like to be with a narcissist. My name's Lise Colucci, and I'm here to help you with things related to recovering from and understanding narcissism in your life and helping you to transform your life beyond the toxic things that have happened and beyond your traumas. So let's talk about this. Okay, let's just jump in. Number one, 10 signs. Devaluing, I'm going to read from a list here. Okay. Devaluing and minimizing your worth, insulting you, blaming you, shaming you. Anyone who is devaluing you on a regular basis, everybody devalues a little bit once in a while when they get in the grumpy mood, right? I'm talking about cyclical or recurring devaluing in the relationship to where you feel your worth in the relationship is diminishing, to where you once a confident and happy person are now feeling sad and depleted from the relationship itself and from the way you're being treated in the relationship. And you can directly see that it's coming from a devaluing of the person that you're with, from them devaluing you, from them taking the value they once held for about you and minimizing it or reducing it to nothing or literally criticizing and blaming you for everything. Hey to Marcy and UNA. Thanks for being here on the no notice. Okay. Number two, they need to control. Somebody that is constantly controlling and you feel like you have no say. You feel like there's a power imbalance or a power manipulation going on where somebody is in the relationship with you. It could be a parent, it could be a romantic relationship, it doesn't matter. It could be anything where they're using power against you. They're financially using power, they are coercively using power to control you and to manipulate things so that you do what they say, so that you stay in the box they're putting you in, so that you follow the delusional path that they have set for you and the narrative that they have created about who you are. All right. Number three, no accountability. Someone that will not take accountability, won't apologize in a way that is at all real, won't take the actions that they've done it against you. We're going to have barking in a second because the mailman just came. Here, we'll say hi. Say hi, Tess. Crazy highs because mailman. Okay. You got it. You're doing good. You're doing good. Okay. No accountability. Sorry about that. The joys of live streaming. Hey, Tanya. Hi, Tess, she says. Okay. No accountability, blame shifting, gaslighting, smearing you, derailing topics, changing the topic to avoid talking about the issue, basically distraction, anything that keeps them from having to take accountability for anything they do in the relationship or in life, really, the inability to make change based on what is said to them about how they're behaving or things that are going wrong in the relationship. Okay. Number four, they lack empathy. All right. If someone's lacking empathy, it can be hard to see. If it's obvious to see, then you might want to consider that is what it is. Okay. If it sometimes with a covert narcissist is really hard to see when they lack empathy. It's hard to notice that, or not notice. It's hard to take what you're noticing and believe that it's real because it is subtle. I have a lot of videos on covert narcissism, so that'd be worth checking out if you're experiencing something where you're like, is that empathy or not? And in fact, maybe I'll talk about that later next week. So let's go on. Number five, they need not only approval, but it seems like they need you to worship them, praise them, give them the ultimate authority, give them all of you without the expectation of returning that towards you, right? So, I was literally told, I need you to worship and adore me. Okay. We all understand wanting validation or wanting someone in your life to see you as wonderful or whatever, but this was beyond that, right? It was no matter what I do, no matter how I do it, no matter what I say. And if you do that, I will grace you with my affection, right? So it was used as a tool to withhold affection and to dole it out transactionally based on my behavior in the situation. Not cool. All right. So number 6, gaslighting, vindictive and aggressive behavior towards you, and the shifting of hot and cold. So if you're experiencing those things, so you know, I don't want to label everyone narcissist, right? That's not what we're here for. We're here to understand toxic behaviors in relationships. Healthy relationships can have some gaslighting included as long as it's recognized and stopped. Everybody makes mistakes. Everyone can want their way. And so it can be really confusing when you're like, is it or isn't it? When you compile all of these things together and you say, oh my gosh, I'm checking 10 out of 10 boxes. That's when you know there's a problem. And that goes for any of these topics, right? So when people have maladaptive and unhealthy argument styles, conflict styles, and they are not willing to take accountability and make changes and growth for themselves, and they continue to gaslight you, and they gaslight you to lie to you, and they gaslight you to shift blame, and they gaslight you to, like I said, escape accountability or confuse situations so you don't see what's going on, like a smokescreen. That's a toxic behavior, and it is something to look at. And hot and cold shift, when you don't know who, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. or Ms. Hyde, right? You don't know who is entering the room. All of those things create cognitive dissonance in you. There's a problem when you have that going on in your relationships because it starts to wear on you, become part of the trauma bonding process, and then it's even harder to get away from. So, okay, number 7, defensive, hypersensitive, and they perceive everything as a threat. So you can't even say, where did you put the paper towels that you bought? Or you can't even say, where did you, do you know where the car keys are? Without that being a threat to them, somehow an attack, and you criticizing and being critical, because the hypersensitivity isn't a hypersensitivity because they've been criticized. It's a hypersensitivity because they believe they're perfect. All right. There's a difference between the hypersensitivity that a survivor has, which can also be toxic to other people if not kept in check, right? It isn't our responsibility to take on the emotional well-being of someone else. It's theirs. And when you work together, there's going to be bumpiness and things that happen and that need to be worked through. Okay. And there's going to be sensitivities that flare up, but that's the person's. If somebody is not toxic, they understand that they have these hypersensitivities and these sensitivities, and they take accountability for it. And they say, hey, I'm getting triggered right now. I need a break. Hey, let's take a break from this conversation right now. I'm feeling triggered. I'm feeling hypersensitive. I'm not sure I can trust my emotions right now. Let me calm down, right? Between two people in a healthy way. In a toxic way, I'm hypersensitive and therefore I'm going to blow up all over you, and I'm not going to listen, and I'm not going to take accountability, and then it's all your fault and you're wrong. And I have seen this with narcissists. I have seen this with people with borderline personality disorder. I have seen this with survivors of narcissistic abuse who want to push blame onto everybody else because they've had blame pushed onto them. This is a tricky one. It is really toxic in relationships. The defensiveness means that you are judging and you feel judged. And sometimes in life, that's not the case. As a survivor of this, you're not actually judging anything when you say, where are the car keys, right? You're just wondering where the car keys are. So that's something in our own lives, whether to try and become healthier in our relationships after narcissism and after, narcissistic abuse, to watch for this in ourselves. But it's also something to watch with a narcissistic person, because they will not come back and say, hey, I got hypersensitive about that. I got really reactive to that. I need to look at that for myself. I need to figure out how to calm down so I can rationally have a conversation about the thing that's upsetting me, right? They're not going to do that. So anyway, number 8, what did I say here? Oh, what is it? What does that even say? Oh, basically, I can't read what I wrote. but they don't like your friends and family. They will try to create they'll try to create a way to sever your ties with your friends and family and isolate you. In a toxic relationship, you will be isolated from the people that are your support, your friends, your family, people you enjoy, people who love you. You will be isolated from them because a narcissistic person needs you to have them as the center of your world. And all these other things are distractions. And all these other people might see right through the narcissist and might give you information that lets you see through the narcissist, which is a danger zone for a narcissistic person. So they need you to be isolated and they need you completely dependent upon them for everything. Number 9, somebody pushing your boundaries, overstepping your boundaries, and controlling things to go in their favor. So again, this is something we all can be guilty of, is pushing somebody else's boundaries. However, a healthy person or somebody who is working on becoming more healthy toward other people will see when they've done that and they'll say, whoa, I just stepped on your boundary. Is that your boundary? Okay. And they'll back off even though it's uncomfortable, right? And they'll apologize. And a narcissist, that's their game, man. They push the boundaries. They do not want you to have an individual existence. They want you to be enmeshed with them. They want to control everything. They want to push your boundaries because they want you uncomfortable. A narcissist wants you uncomfortable so that they can control things. If you're uncomfortable, you're squirming, you're shifting, you're darting around and you're looking for a way out, and you're losing your sense of what you actually want in the situation. You're losing your agency and your ability to act upon your own will and agency, right? Because you're flustered, because you're uncomfortable. That's what a narcissistic person wants. It's a way to control you. All right. So number 10, they can't take any criticism or perceived rejection or ridicule, and they lack the vulnerability to be able to be constructive with anything they receive. We kind of talked about that, but more in depth. Somebody that is highly toxic in a relationship will not allow anything constructive to be said that could better them. Okay, and here's the catch. A covert narcissist will look like they are. They will say, oh, I need to work on that. Oh, I need to fix that. Oh, I'm trying really hard. Okay. They won't allow it and make change with it. That goes back to the no accountability, but a little more on a detail of it being about the not being able to be vulnerable. They're not able to allow the vulnerability. A lot of us survivors of it have struggled with vulnerability as well, but we also recognize we're totally vulnerable because we come and we find help. We talk to people for help. We are vulnerable with ourselves as much as we can be. And that's a place we need to work on because it's an avoidant trait, right? To be the lack of vulnerability. And as we know, narcissistic people are avoidant. Their attachment style is avoidance. And a lot of us have avoidance because of the abuses that we've had. So there is an overlying thing there that can happen. And so we can also be toxic in that way where we're not vulnerable and open with people in our relationships because we've not found safety within ourselves in order to say, yeah, if they get toxic, I'm walking away. It doesn't matter if I'm safe or not safe with them. I'm safe with me. A narcissist, it's more like, yeah, it's you against me. And if you're saying anything that isn't following the dialogue and the narrative that goes with the narcissist's delusion of who they believe they are, or who they want to present themselves as, it's a threat. And therefore, no vulnerability is allowed. They are uncomfortable. Have you ever noticed if there's anything intimate, and I don't mean like physically necessarily, but that as well, it could just be a connection where you feel that moment of connection with another human being, right? It could be anything in life. And the narcissist will shut you down rapidly after that. It's super not the place they want to go. They won't allow anyone in that space because they don't exist there. They want that from you. They want you to give it to them, but they don't want to offer it back. Anyway, there's 10 signs of a toxic relationship. I'm going to read what you guys say, and then I got to go because this is just a short live stream to say hey. And let's see. Okay, I'm going to go back. U&A, hello, Marcy and Tanya and Shoshana. What are you guys saying? I do not worship and adore a fellow human. I know, right? Okay. Tanya, I came back to say that it's really nice that everyone else can speak freely of their trauma. However, mine does not follow community guidelines. You know what? It is, it can, because when you're talking about, we need to have a conversation about, and maybe you guys can help me out and help get support to people who are experiencing things like what Tanya is talking about. When we're talking about institutional narcissism and the way narcissism works when it is coming at someone from places of authority and absolute authority, such as within a police department, within the judicial system, within any government agency or any church organization or anything that has an authority over masses of people and then has boxes that they put people in to categorize, right? And then you're forced to follow the protocol within that, but the whole system itself is toxic. And so when you get trapped in that system, same as when someone's in the welfare system or when someone is in is on disability and working with that, with the system, it's infuriating, and it's a place that people need support. So if you've experienced anything like that, can you let me know in comments, and I can put something together that is more comprehensive than what I'm saying right now. And I hope that speaks to that a bit, Tanya, because you totally need a place for that. And I gotcha. Okay. All right. All right. I will, let's see. Let's see. I think we're done. All right. I'll see you guys next week. You take care and have a good weekend. Bye-bye. Stay away from those toxic people if you're seeing them in your life. All right. Bye.